Good to be back. Back again to die on this hill.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy Joey D. How you doing today, Joey?
Doing great being on this podcast with you this evening. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Pretty good. Doing better than my Giants.
And my Jets.
We're going to get there. But first I want to talk about our Yankees, because I think we're getting there. We finally hit the stratosphere. The Martian's here. You know what I mean? It's...
He has finally arrived.
And, we need him. Sorry to say it, but we do. We need a lot more than him. He's
we
just
need pitching more importantly.
We need a closer. But I'm hoping Weaver turns into a closer, but I'm
kind of hoping Cousins does, to be honest with you.
Who?
Cousins.
Yeah.
He's got good stuff, but whatever. I just want anybody who's going to freaking get the last 3 outs. I don't care who.
Yeah.
Don't care who it is.
I'm with you there. And
boy,
speaking of somebody who's going to get
we got a caller?
We do. Let's see if we can get him connected. Well, we're trying to get him connected, though. I just don't have the faith in Cousins that you do. I don't have the faith in most of them.
I'm with you on that 100%.
Most of the bullpen has been a weak spot of this team, especially second half of the year. But I mean,
which is surprising.
Boone burns his guys out every year. It doesn't really surprise me.
It surprises me because Cashman always has a good bullpen. This is the first year I could actually say their bullpen is atrocious. I don't trust majority of them coming out, just like you said. So it's going to be an interesting October.
It definitely is, but at least the Yankees are going to be there. I mean, they have a 99.99% chance of getting in. If they don't get in somehow, some way, it would be the most epic collapse you've ever seen of any team. So they're getting there. But I would like to see them get there with the top seed, because I want whoever has to play the wild card game. I want, somebody from that Central Division. Mm-hmm. Because that Central Division, the Yankees have been able to beat up on them most of the year. Especially early in the year, Absolutely. They beat the heck out of the Central. So, and right now, even with the Royals, I mean, beat them, 10-40 the night, lost last night, I think 5-0. But definitely...
They're up and down this season.
But they're better against the Central. So I would like to see them get the Central in the playoffs. That's way too far down the road. We got to get there first. We got to get there healthy with the rest of the guys. Judge has been slumping. He's got to get hot again. They got to kick Alex Verdugo to the curb at some point, unless he keeps hitting. But, I mean, at some point, it's got to be Dominguez's spot. It's got to be the Martian spot. He was tearing it up in AAA. The worst thing you could do is just cool him off on the bench and then play him once every 4 or 5 days.
If he's up, he's got to play every day.
He's got to play every day. So I'm waiting to see how Boone tweaks the lineup. And I hope that he plays every day going forward. However he needs to make that happen, he's got to be in the lineup. That bat needs to be there. And, we need the youth between, it's like him, Chisholm, Volpe. They're the youth of this team. And to be honest, when you look at a lot of championship teams, doesn't matter what sport you're talking about, a lot of the championship teams have a good mix of veterans and young players. They have a good mix of talent on the team. I think that I worry about the Yankees too. I do a little bit. But, to say the same, the Mets have been killing it lately, but yet they can't gain enough ground to actually get themselves solidly in the wild card. They're barely hanging on.
They're barely. You say they're barely hanging on, but they're only 2 back of San Diego and Arizona for the top 2 wild
card
spots.
But they're tied, I believe, if they're not. I'm going to check right now, but I believe they're tied with our buddy who was joining us on the line tonight, Mr. Eric Pfeiffer. He's not the biggest baseball fan, but he is a baseball fan, and he does like the Braves, who are only a half game back in the Mets because the Mets played earlier today. We'll have to see what the Braves do later. But Braves half game back. They're tied in the loss column, which is really the most important column.
Correct.
They're virtually tied with the Mets. And if you had to ask me, coming down the home stretch, 16 games left to play, am I putting my money on the Mets or the Braves? I'm putting it on the Braves. I just think that's the safe money. Mr. Fife, how you doing tonight? And do you agree safe money's on the Braves to be in the playoffs instead of the Mets?
I mean, if you're looking at franchise history, historically, yeah, I'd say your safe money is on the Braves. It just feels like it's time for the Mets to start losing a lot of baseball games.
Yeah, it seems to be, didn't they? I believe they had a 7-game lead with 17 left to play and blew that.
Yeah, that was a while. That was like 17 years ago.
Yeah, 17. All the 17s lining up there. Yeah, sevens. But yeah, they blew that lead. So I can't imagine that them virtually in a tie isn't going to find a way to screw this up somehow. You know, and.
We talk about it even with football all the time. There's just these organizations that just can't seem to get out of their own way and figure out how to win. I just feel like the Mets have been that. And I say that with a smile.
Well, I guess that could transition us to football because, I mean, we're giving it a little bit of time. But since you're joining us, I want to make sure I get your opinion on this because, I mean, it was a bad weekend in the NFL for me. It really was. Well, not fantasy wise, but as a Giant fan, they looked pretty embarrassing, especially on offense. I didn't see much redeeming qualities from what Daniel Jones put forth. And the fact that everybody's mad that people are booing him outside of the stadium as well as inside the stadium, I think is a bit ridiculous. Because, listen, it's the media. It's not even the media. It's the fan base. That's what you have to know. You're walking into New York. We're going to show you unconditional love when you do amazing things. And we're going to tell you suck when you suck. And I'm sorry, but Danny Dimes has sucked. And I got to see if you agree with me on this.
Yeah, he was bad. He was atrocious, embarrassing, you name it. I'm never one to boo someone. That's just not who I am. But I do understand the frustration from the fans and why they did it. Whether I agree with it or not doesn't really matter. Everybody is their own person. They do what they do. I don't think it's, I think it's, for me as a grown 40-year-old man, it's a waste of time to stand outside of a stadium and wait for somebody just so I can boo them.
I agree, but again, we weren't those type of people. Like we discuss our displeasure with him, but we're not the type that are going to waste any time waiting for him outside of the stadium to boo him extra. I'll agree with you there.
Man, I'm going to go out and, this is what I always do. I celebrate with some beers and a win, and I drown my sorrows with a loss, and that's what I'd be doing. I'd be waiting for traffic to clear out, drinking beers in the parking lot, talking about how bad it was, but I'm not going to stand there and wait for somebody to come out. I mean, unless I got myself real tuned up and was making bad decisions. But other than that, I mean, it was bad. I'm confident because this is the last year that they are, tied to him, that he's going to be on a short leash. I think if he comes out and throws balls at people's feet this week, doesn't find open receivers, constantly goes to the check down. I mean, that's what it was. Neighbors I think was in the top 5 for separation. Neighbors was got about 3.5 yards of separation from his coverage on average. And he was not pulling the trigger. He was checking down. Well, the problem is he would check down to an open receiver and then throw it at his feet. And then when he rolled out and he ran out, like, this is supposed to be this guy's strength. I know he's just coming off of a knee surgery, but it's obviously still affecting him. It's like a running back. Nick Chubb comes back. Everybody thinks, he's going to be Nick Chubb. He probably won't be Nick Chubb. If not this year, until maybe next year. But you got to hope you can get some slither of it if you got it in fantasy, right? But you can see that Daniel Jones, he didn't have wheels. He would get out of the pocket, and he didn't look fast. And if he can't run, we found out he can't throw. Danny Pennies or whatever the fuck you want to call him.
It's true.
And then I think he's on a short leash. I think we're going to see Drew Lock. Please, 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 will all the Tommy DeVito screamers shut up? All right? This kid he was inspirational. He caught fire. We talked about it last year. As soon as that fire ran out, as soon as that luck, I don't know what I call it luck, but he caught something. That happens sometimes in sports, but the kid's not an NFL quarterback. There's a reason he's third string behind Drew Lock. Drew Lock can sling the ball. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Is he going to be able to find a wide-open Malik Neighbors better than Daniel Jones? At this point, I have to say yes. So I think if Jones comes out and lays a complete egg against Washington and looks anything like he looked week 1, where Sam Darnold on the other side looked like a god, I think that, it's it. They're going to pull. He's got the hook, man. They're going to give him the hook. If it's not after this week, maybe midway through week 3 if he's looking terrible, because they don't have the easiest. I think they played Cleveland week 3.
Yeah, but
if you ain't got it together by the time you go play that defense, you're in trouble, dude.
But I just don't see them benching Daniel Jones, though. That's the biggest issue. And Joey, I'll let you jump in here, but because I want to see if you agree.
Cleveland week 3, Dallas week 4.
But you're paying the guy over $40 million. You literally didn't even make Saquon an offer because you were so focused on making this Daniel Jones's year, and you're going to pull him after 2 games. I'm sorry. I just do not see this GM and this coach doing that. I think they're going to try their damnedest to work through these issues. I believe Dable wants to improve it. It's just whether or not – I just don't think Daniel Jones has – I think he's hit the ceiling. I think he's now banging his head against it. Like, he can't – he's not getting he's done. Stick a fork in him. His confidence is shot. Everything is shot. And then once you lose that confidence, you start losing the locker room. You start losing the guys around you because they need to have that confidence. They feed off of a quarterback's confidence. They feed off of a leader's confidence. And when your leader on the offensive side is a shell of himself, what can you do? So I understand totally from every fan's perspective, bench this guy, do what you have to do, but I just don't see this coach and this GM doing it. I know they should, and I agree with you, they should. I just don't think they will.
I'm just saying, I didn't think they would either. If he came out and was somewhat mediocre, they wouldn't. But if you come out and look like you did that week, I give him till week 4. If he gets like Micah Parsons eats him up and he gets dominated by Dallas like they did week 1 last year, dude, they're gonna go the other way. They have no commitment to him. They have no reason. The $40 million this year, that's already in the bank. So they ain't got no reason to keep throwing him out there if he ain't going to be the guy next year. So you let Drew Lock go out there or whoever.
Again,
go get Joe Flacco. Call the Colts. Bring in Joe Flacco. But I'm just kidding with that. But I'm saying, dude, mediocre. I think the most important thing for Daniel Jones' career right now is to get on the phone with Ryan Leaf, figure out, how not to go down the wrong avenues when you're a huge.
No, he needs to get on the phone with Dan Orlovsky and figure out how this commentating thing works.
Well, Ryan Leaf went downhill, right? He went, the guy got arrested, drugs, whatever. He's got to get a little bit of a mentorship because the way he's getting booed in New York, man, this shit could turn. This guy's life could go the wrong way.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to see that,
I don't see it going that way.
I think you need a little mentorship from one of the biggest bucks. I'm just saying, man. Just call Ryan Leaf and let him tell you what not to do.
So
you're a boss.
Let me say this about Daniel Jones. I actually feel really bad for him because he's getting all this blowback because he did suck. He was god awful. I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't. It's his first game in a year. He's still not even a full year recovered from his ACL. I think there's a lot of rust on him. I honestly do. And
I truly, and not to cut you off, but I truly believe the NFL season doesn't really start until about week 5 now.
Correct.
Because there's no real preseason. The players don't play, so they don't get to really congeal until 3-4 weeks into the season. That's why I don't think the real season starts till about week 5.
That's why I think they should have started off with Drew Lock, to be honest with you. And maybe give Daniel Jones a few more weeks until he's actually ready, because it clearly looks like he's not ready. He's been god-awful. And going back to your confidence, what you were saying, Eric, it's been since Hard Knocks that you saw in the offseason. The Giant franchise is not behind him. He's not behind their QB1. They wanted to move up in the draft and get May, right? Drake May. They really liked Jaden Daniels. And they really like Jaden Daniels, too.
Glad they didn't get him, too.
I don't know. He looks like he could be a player down there in Washington, and I think the Giants are in for a whooping this weekend. But the way they played last weekend, the Giants may have looked like the worst team in football. Out of all teams, there were only 2 teams not to score a touchdown last weekend. One of those teams won.
Daniel Jones needs to improve every week if he wants to continue to be the starting quarterback of the New York Giants, because you're right, they have a short leash on him because of that contract, If he goes down with an injury, his contract is fully guaranteed. So they're going to have a short leash on him, 100%, because they don't want him to be unhealthy.
But I don't know if there's something in there too that if they pull him for a certain reason, is he guaranteed something? Like, I don't know the language of the contract, so I'm not trying to get my hopes up too much. I just hope I want him to be healthy. I want him to be good. I don't like the fact that I have to sit here week after week for the next 18 weeks and talk about how crappy my football team is. I don't. I want to sit here and talk about the 2 years ago Giants where they were the tryhards and they were improving and they were fun to watch again. This team is quickly regressed and I don't like to see it. I thought we were on a better trajectory and I'm hoping that they figure it out because again, I still think we're in partial preseason here.
Correct.
So I'm hoping by week 3 and 4 we start to see a different Giant team. That's what I'm really hoping for. Exactly like you said, that give him the time, like let him congeal, but if he doesn't, at some point you got to have the leash. And I think every fan out there, regardless of if you're a Giant fan or just a football fan, has to look at it and say, I don't want to watch Daniel Jones on the field. Like, nobody wants to watch it. Even if you're just as a casual football fan, you don't want to see that kind of quarterback play.
No, it's really bad.
Not at the top level.
No,
and not
really was bad.
So. But to go back to Jaden Daniels, he looks like he could be a player in Washington. So I'm not you're saying you don't want him. I'm looking at next year's draft. I don't want to touch Schroeder Sanders with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, no,
I don't want Quinn Ewers out of Texas. Although he might be the best of the bunch because at least he's getting big-time game experience. He's coaching with a guy who's Sark, who's a really good quarterback coach.
Who's the kid Beck that I've heard? Is he from Georgia? Is it from him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, but there's some guys out there, but none of them are really that great. And the Giants are probably going to be in a position where they're going to need to draft somebody next year. And I look at this class. I want the class 2 years from now. I want Arch Manning. That's who I want. I want the legacy. Bring in the legacy. But I don't know what gets us to 2026.
Exactly.
I cannot stand that people are like, we want Arch Manning.
I'm with Fife on this.
Listen,
he can't even win the job.
Eli back in the day. I love that Eli stood up and didn't say, I don't want to go to the Chargers.
Love it.
I'm telling you, I was that guy years ago that I was like, I love the fact that he was like, I don't want to go to the Chargers. I want to go to the Giants. I think that's what I want. I want that kind of like,
Arch is going to suck in the NFL. And I say this because if you're saying that he's just going to start 1 year, then go to the NFL, he's going to be atrocious in the NFL.
I don't believe it.
You need like 30, 40 starts in college to be pretty freaking good.
Not when you have a pedigree like that and you have, because he's been coached up in a different way than most. No, but he's been coached up in a different way than most kids. He didn't live a normal life with the
experience.
A regular high school coach and whatever. Like he's been coached by the best of the best since he was a kid. So I want that mentality.
Gotta stop, dude. Unless that dude goes out in college football and fucking starts shattering records next year, it's gotta stop.
I love the fact that you don't hear anything from him and he's a team player. That he's cheering on Quinn Ewers. That he is trying his best to be.
He's a great cheerleader.
But it just shows me the kind of teammate he can be. Just shows me the teammate he can be. I'm just saying, as a Giant fan, that's all I can aspire to right now. I can't aspire to anything else. What else can I do as a Giant fan but dream about the Manning of the future? Like, that's all I can because I'm sitting here looking at Danny Dimes barf it up on the field. It's just, it's unbelievable.
I was so patient with this Danny Dimes thing. Like, I was okay with it when they signed with this contract because they gave themselves an out that we're seeing coming next year, right? And I was patient with Daniel Jones because I used to be so critical of Eli early in his career. But you can just see it, like, with Eli early in his career, was he bad? Was he throwing a lot of interceptions? But was he also leading the team to wins with 2 minutes to go in the game? He absolutely was.
Yes,
this guy can't even get himself in a position to lead a team to a win because they can't move the ball, so the defense is on the field all the time, so they're down by 3 fucking scores. It's terrible. Gotta go. And I'm just all I'm saying, I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just saying it's way too early. I'm sick of hearing all this Arch Manning crap. I said it as a joke when he was in high school,
It's a pipe dream. It's a fantasy. It's not something that's going to come to fruition. I know this, but I'm just looking at this draft class where we're going to actually need a quarterback, and it sucks compared to what could be.
Watch my boy spin the ball, bro. If it moves up, if he has the year I think he's going to have, all right, they had a little bit of a down week Saturday against Bowling Green. Watch my boy Drew Allar spin that.
When you
football.
have down weeks against Bowling Green, I lose confidence in the. You know what I mean?
He still threw the ball well. It was the rest of the team. The team around him didn't get up for the game. He still played good football. Watch my boy, dude. He spins that ball. He's going to fly up draft boards. I'm telling you.
Is this the next Christian Hackenberg?
We talk about teams and what. Penn State's known for linebackers. They're known for linemen. They're known for they're known for running backs. They're known for a couple different things. They're not known for quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, when their quarterbacks
who came in,
Christian Hackenberg.
I couldn't stand any. I hated Christian Hackenberg. I hated Sean, whatever the hell his name is, who might start, or Sean Clifford. I hated them all. That was the most critical of their quarterbacks. This kid came in. He could spin it as a freshman. He's a junior now. He could still spin it. If he decides to come out next year, it's going to be good, dude. And you know me, dude. I'm an impartial fan. I mean, I love my Penn State, right? I told him to take Barkley. Barkley is a great player. They just didn't build shit around him.
That's true.
I'm just saying that. I'm looking at next year's draft, and more than likely, if I'm going to target somebody, I think you know who I'm going to target. I'm going to be a homer myself.
Travis Hunter?
No.
Who?
Well, Travis Hunter's probably going to be the best overall player. Like, we're looking at Marvin Harrison in this draft. You're probably going to see people talking about Travis Hunter that way, where he's probably going to be the most.
Pair him up with Malik, bro?
But, no, I'm saying quarterback-wise, there is a quarterback out there who, if he could do what he did, with Saban, with a new guy, I'm looking at Jalen Milroe as a guy who could come out, who's played in a lot of big games, a lot of big talent, has a good arm, is one of those dual threat quarterbacks.
I hate it.
I don't. It's the way listen, it's the future. It's the way of the world. It's the way most
Giants won't
quarterbacks
do
are
that.
going.
The Giants
most
won't do that.
Quarterbacks have to have.
Giants won't do that.
Running quarterbacks. All right, because Patrick Mahomes is a great pocket passer, so don't try and.
But I'm not saying Jalen Milroe's a running quarterback. I'm saying he has the ability to run.
Win Super Bowl. They don't win Super Bowls. You need to be a good pocket passer to win a Super Bowl.
I've said that so many times, and I'm hoping Lamar proves me wrong. But Fife is 100% right.
Could prove you wrong. I think they're
Stroud's not a running quarterback.
But I look at him as like a Milroe. Like he can still get out of the pocket and move and run.
Bro,
Milroe's not running for 100 yards. He's running for like 30 or 40. Hey, like I can look up his stats.
Sorry to interrupt. I gotta go clock into work, but I don't mean to interrupt. So I got it's a crazy week. I did overtime last night. Worked till 1:30. Came back in at 7. Worked all day. Got overtime tonight. Got overtime tomorrow night.
Well, make that money, bro.
Out. But so this week had me thinking. We put our 4 picks in the text message, right? It got me thinking. Like, there's going to be weeks like this where it's hard to find games with a split. So in our group chat, I put, just for the 4 of us, just for some fun, so we can look at it every once in a while, was a pick 'em. If you guys want to do it, I figured me, Eric, Joey, and Dave would do a pick 'em all games every week, and this way we don't have to talk about it because nobody's got time to talk about every game. But we could put it in there and do it for the rest of the season from week 2 on and see who has the best record at the end of the year. I thought that'd be fun, so I just put it together real quick. I put a link in our text message thread, and if you guys want to join up, I think it'd be fun.
All right. Well, I will definitely take a look at it once the show's over. And I don't see any reason why not to, because we're all, I think, using those kind of CBS and whatever apps anyway. I think you sent it through CBS, so no. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool.
I got to go. Cool.
All right. Have a great night. That was our buddy Fife.
Later, Fife.
And, listen, he always brings a different perspective than me, but the one thing we are is we're both fans of the Giants. And that's what makes sports great. And that's why I love sitting here arguing sports, because the shit that was on TV last night, like, I don't want to sit here and argue about that. Like, I want to debate this. This is what I want to debate. This is fun to me because, you know what? He's got a different view on it than I do. But you know what we both want? We both want Daniel Jones out.
Nah.
But it's just, I don't think that the team's going to do it. He thinks the team's a little more apt to do it. So I think it's
feel bad for him because I really think he needs more time. And I don't think he's going to get the time to really shine. And then, you know what? He's going to be a free agent. And possibly, maybe he needs to go to the Rams, or maybe he needs to go to Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers to, like Sam Darnold did, to get a year of revampness.
Sam Darnold's still garbage. Like
for one game, he looked pretty damn good, bro.
He was against an awful Giant team.
He was very, very efficient with the ball.
I'm picking San Fran this week. Actually, I got a Survivor because they're playing the Vikings.
They're
I just don't
at the Vikings too,
but I don't trust the Vikings.
Okay, I'm not arguing with your logic.
I'm more than happy with Mason running and whatever else.
I think San Fran's gonna win the game too, but I'm just saying, like, they're probably a little better than you think.
Figure out another game, because I got to be honest. I think one thing that I'm not sure if you or Fife brought it up. This week is hard to pick.
What up, Timmy?
There's a lot of people in this draft. Timmy, I mean, he's a football head
Timmy
himself.
wants Drew Lock right now.
Everybody wants Drew Lock, but the Giants aren't going to give us what we want. They never do. And I'll tell you what, this is exactly what Mara said. If he goes to Saquon goes to Philly and it blows up, I'm not going to sleep all night. Not only does Saquon go to Philly and have 3 TDs, TDs, but Xavier McKinney, who they let go, got an interception as well in Green Bay. So for Green Bay. So I mean, they lost on every front. They didn't re-sign the 2 guys that all Giants fans wanted them to re-sign. And then both guys go out and absolutely kill week 1 for their teams.
That's good for them, man. That really is.
It's very bad for our Giants, though.
It is what it is, man. You can always find a running back. You really can. I know Saquon's a very highly talented player, but in this league, you can find running backs.
Yeah, I just wish that they would have committed more to those other players and not as much to Jones.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong on that.
You know, would say the same now, especially knowing what we know and how this looks like it's going to play out.
Quick question for you, because we didn't have this podcast a couple years ago. What were your thoughts during his playoff run? Did you want the Giants to resign him back?
No. So we were still doing the other show at that time.
Yeah.
And on the other show, I was a staunch Dave, who I'm sure will be joining us shortly, and Fife could attest. I wanted the Giants to send 2 first-round picks to Baltimore, and I wanted to sign Lamar Jackson.
That's okay.
I said I wanted Lamar.
Wow.
What Dable could do with Lamar Jackson, if he could do half of what he did with Daniel Jones, and you have 10 times the talent with Lamar Jackson, the offense we could have would be unreal if you put him in the backfield and have that 2-headed monster with him and Saquon. Now you got an offense. Now you got something.
I'm not arguing with that.
So that's where my mindset was. Nice. That's what I wanted, because the Ravens at the time were having those difficult contract negotiations with Lamar. There were talks of a possible trade, but they wanted 2 first. I said, send them the 2 first.
Okay.
Because, again, draft picks, and I'll reiterate this to the end of time, are only as good as the teams that use them. And some teams just suck. Some teams can't draft. So giving them picks or taking picks from, 2 first-round picks, trading them to, the Ravens, they're probably going to do something good with those 2 first-round picks. But at the same time, you're getting back an MVP player, and he's playing with a coach who just showed you what he could do with a guy like Daniel Jones. Why would to me it just made a lot of sense. If you're going to pay a guy $40 million, I'd much rather have given 40 or 45 to Lamar Jackson than I would have given the 42 to Daniel Jones. So
I'm with you on that.
That's
and then
where
go
him
with Saquon. That's a great dual backfield.
And now
you don't know who's
got
getting
your
the ball.
quarterback set. Then you can worry
do
about paying
all day with that.
But then you can worry about paying Barkley too, because you've already set up that you had Lamar for So I mean, it would have worked out better for this team. And unfortunately, we're in a different predicament. I know that the coaching staff and the GM weren't handed a great cap situation to begin with. Gettleman kind of ran it into the ground. So I know they didn't have much to work with. So, again, they need some time to correct that. We're giving them all that time. But now we know this Daniel Jones experiment is over. 6 years later, by the way. This guy's had 6 years in the league.
Yeah, I get that, man.
And I know one of them he was hurt, and I know he's had ups and downs. He's had different coordinators and coaches. I don't want to hear it. By 6 years, you know whether a guy's a starting quarterback in the NFL. You shouldn't still be guessing on whether or not he's going to pan out. 6 years and over, $160 million later.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier. That's why I think mentally he's done. Nobody's really behind him. Nobody. The fans aren't behind him. The franchise sure as hell isn't behind him, because, like I said, they were looking for a quarterback in the draft. If it didn't cost them an arm, a leg, and a couple other organs, they probably would have done the trade to move up.
Absolutely. It does. Like you just alluded to, Price ended up getting a little too.
Timmy is fired up. Timmy's fired up in the chat.
Timmy, by all means, if Timmy wanted to call in too, Timmy, you got my number. You could call in and vent it out, man. I'll give you the floor if you got something to vent.
So he definitely said like they paid the wrong person, and I agreed with him on that. And then he said literally everybody saw this coming with Daniel Jones. It's been 6 years.
6 years.
I never trusted him. He's a career third stringer. I don't know about a career third stringer.
I'm pretty spot on with my college quarterbacks, and I'm pretty good with predicting them coming out. I've missed on a couple, and I've been right on more than I've missed. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence, the only one coming out of that draft that was a franchise guy. So far, he's turned out to be the only guy who's a franchise guy. Certain things. This QB class, though, I mean, we've given Daniel Jones 6 years. We took him number 6 overall.
I think he guys have traded back and got him lower in the draft. I don't think everybody be freaking out as bad. But it's a top 10 pick. It's a top 10 pick, and with that top 10 pick, you're hoping it's a 10-year player. And this is an unfortunate.
It's 10 years of garbage.
Yeah, it's been 6 years.
10 years of hot garbage.
5 out of 6.
Yeah, we had one fun year.
One fun year,
but it was a tease. It's a tease.
It was unfortunately a tease.
It's like going to one of them gentlemen establishments. It's just a tease.
Practice. Timmy calls him practice squad. Fine, not third stringer.
Yeah, no, he is. He is not good. But I mean, we got to move off of him. Yeah. We got to get to some of these other guys. I mean, I want to go right to your guy though, Mr. Aaron Rodgers with the Jets.
Hey, he looked decent.
I mean,
he looked decent. It was definitely better than Zach Wilson.
But he did. He looked pretty decent.
The line definitely could have been better. I think the Jets in general could have been better. I'm definitely overreacting to Monday. I think Robert Saleh's defense is so freaking overrated. Oh, I have this amazing defense. This, that, the other. Your goddamn defense couldn't stop a freaking cold, bro. 8 straight plays, 8 straight drives of scoring. They punted on their first drive, and that was it. Dude, that pisses me off.
They ran all over them, too.
That pisses me off more than anything else. And I get it. It's week 1. They flew to San Francisco. San Fran's the number 1, the reigning NFC champion. I don't want to hear that BS. This is when you were supposed to get them. Because Trent Williams was sitting out for all training camp. Ayuk was sitting out all training camp. These guys weren't... Yeah, they're ready, but
but they're not ready, and that's the problem. Is
the Jets weren't ready.
They're not going to be the real Jets until week 4 or 5. That's everybody has it. They haven't played.
It's so frustrating, man.
It is because you go through the preseason, you're like, oh, my team's getting ready. No, the preseason is just extended training camp at this point. There's no point
just to see who I'm going to cut and who's not.
Exactly, and maybe this team rounds out the shape. But you go game 1, 16 carries of Breece Hall, only 54 yards. Did have a TD, but didn't look like the player Breece Hall thought he was going to be. Aaron Rodgers, to me, looked a step slower. He did not look his 100% self.
With the step
he was
slower.
Still good, and he's still better than the league average.
The ball's
for sure.
Still coming out good out of his hand.
But it's only coming out to Lazard.
And one drive, the touchdown drive with Garrett Wilson.
But he didn't get the touchdown. Lazard got 2 of them.
I understand that, but I'm saying that drive.
Alan Lazard got 2 touchdowns.
But yeah, bro.
When he's your best offensive player, you're not going to win.
No.
I'm sorry. I don't care how great a game Aaron Lazard has. He is never going to be the catalyst to a win for the Jets. So I look at it here, and they ended up benching Rodgers towards the end there. Garbage time.
Stop.
It was garbage time.
I don't want to hear benched. He's 40 years old, coming off an Achilles. The game was over.
However,
you don't want to get him hurt, correct?
So
Am I right
what did
or wrong?
they do to him? So what did they do?
What I considered benched is...
So he went to the bench.
I'm saying they put Tyrod in just to finish the game.
To get him off of the bench.
To finish the game.
Yeah.
Being benched is like you're in the second or third quarter. You are freaking atrocious. You have 4 picks and you're benched, bro.
See, this is a different type of bench.
This is not bench.
Game was out of hand. They weren't going to win. It was late.
They were just like, yo, Tyrod, go in. There's a difference between benching.
And do you think it was the coach saying Tyrod go to in, or do you think Aaron Rodgers was like, all right, we're not going to win. I'm done for tonight. Go ahead, Tyrod. It's your turn.
I think they kind of looked at each other and was like, yeah, bro, I'm 40. I'm not going in a 20-point loss right now. Thank you. And then you're like, all right, Tyrod, you're in.
But that just shows you he's the real coach. Like
he's the coach of the offense. You saw that.
This team revolves around. It is the polar opposite from what the Giants have with Daniel Jones, where everybody has faith in him. They have blind faith. You guys all have blind faith.
Did you watch
Aaron
the game?
Rodgers. Yeah.
Okay. So you saw when they're at the line of scrimmage that he's checking everything and he's calling lines out to everything out to the line. Then he's calling everything out to the running backs and to the receivers. Yeah. It's his show.
He even admitted
he's running the show.
He even admitted on Pat McAfee he made a couple wrong decisions too. A couple wrong
It's blatantly his show. And he's checking out of Hackett's crappy calls every chance he can get. And
still loves Hackett. Still loves Hackett.
Get Hackett out of my goddamn life. Get Robert Saleh out of my life. Saleh, you're a nice dude.
But even with a new coach,
get it out of my life,
even with a new coach
bro.
and Aaron Rodgers, I still think this team is going to cap out where they are now. I still think they're going to be much better than they played on Monday. I think Monday was Rodgers coming back with a lot of rust he had to knock off. They gave it an effort, but like I told you, it was going to be too much to overcome. Going out west, playing a primetime game right away in San Fran, it was just going to be too much for them to overcome. I kind of knew right from the start. I forgot the tortilla downstairs.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll do it at the end.
Either way.
Dude.
It's just, you look at this team, and like I said, he had 9 targets. Why is Alan Lazard, of all people...
And by the way,
how many targets did Mike Williams get?
He only played a few plays.
Yeah, why?
Because he's not, even though he's 100% said you're ready to go, they're going to ease him back slowly in.
How much slower can you get than none, zero?
I only think he played like 3 or 4 plays. Like he wasn't in there for a lot.
But why? If you're going to ease him back, that's not worth easing back.
I have no idea, man, because I'm with you on that. Their 3rd round receiver didn't even freaking play. Malachi Corley, he's supposed to be Yak King through college. Not even a freaking target.
5 players got targeted. 5.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is, rust getting. It's definitely rust for Rodgers. He's got to see if he trusts his Achilles in a real game and whatnot. But this team scares me. And I get it's week 1. And I need to relax a little bit. But the O-line is old. Tyron Smith's our age. He's a couple years younger than us. He's 37 years old. He ain't getting any younger. Morgan Moses just had a torn pec or something in the offseason. He's 33, 34. AVT looked like absolute garbage, and he's coming off of 2 consecutive seasons of having season-ending season injuries. Sorry about that. I'm so scared for this team that it's all going to collapse and that this team is going to suck. I think Robert Saleh's team is overrated. I don't care. It's 150 yards. Dude, what are we doing, bro?
They gave up 147. But again, that's the difference is if you have Breece Hall and you want to take the pressure off of Rodgers, especially in the first game.
They were not opening holes.
But why would you not still just feed him? Why would you not at least try? He had 15 carries for 54. He couldn't have had 30 for 100.
I'm with you on that.
You know what I mean? And at least had a game where where he takes the pressure off Rodgers. Plus, by running the ball more,
but they were
keeping
down.
it out of San Fran's hands. I get it, but still, you have to stay to your game plan.
San Fran was killing clock. Death by 1,000 slashes or whatever it's called. Bro, they were killing them with the plays. I think they doubled them on plays. That's why when the Jets got the ball, they were just trying to go quick because they had to stay in the game. And they obviously didn't do a great job of that. They couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop San Fran. 8 straight scoring drives.
And by the way, we got to talk about San Fran because what kind of dirty politics are they into where they don't tell anybody, they don't even put them on the injury report, and they screw over just about every CMC fantasy holder out there. I don't know if Timmy's still in the chat. I don't know if Carl's in the chat. I don't know anybody.
Put the kids to bed.
No, that's all right. But I'm just saying, like, CMC, I was hearing it all week on social media. Nobody knew, and then you don't give people enough time to at least pick somebody up.
I listen to fantasy podcasts. They're like, oh, he's 100% going to go tonight. He's going to get his touches.
And then I heard other people that are like insiders on ESPN going, oh, well, he didn't practice for 2 weeks, so I knew he wasn't going to play, and, I picked up the backup, and I'm like, but if you knew he wasn't going to play, why don't you report it?
Why don't you report it? And that's exactly why I didn't want to take him number 1 overall, because I saw his stupid calf injury has been killing him all training camp, and I knew it because of the last 2 years he's been with the Niners. They've just been ground and pound and just give it to freaking Christian McCaffrey. I'm so pissed that I took him number 1 overall. So pissed.
Speaking of which, I think there's another guy you should take a number 1 overall, but I want to see how he did this weekend. I don't think he did that great. It's looking
number 1 overall. Who? CeeDee Lamb?
No,
Bijan?
Nah. All right, because I was thinking him or Reese, but like Reese didn't have a great day.
Dude, I should have taken CeeDee.
But again, nobody had a great week. You look at Cousins didn't have a great week. Why? Because none of these guys play in the preseason. None of them gelled together anymore.
Nope.
It doesn't matter how much you get together in the offseason and throw to each other. It doesn't matter how much you get together on the practice field and practice against your first team defense.
Crap.
Unless you're actually playing live games, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't.
Because your timing, congratulations, you're going 7-on-7. No one's coming to pressure you. Your timing's not going to be exact anymore, guys.
And speaking of which, Justin Fields ends up getting a start in Pittsburgh, going to this game. Might as well talk about Bijan, talk about Cousins. Fields actually didn't look half bad. I know they just kicked field goals. They were the other team this weekend, other than the Giants, who we just talked about suck completely. The Steelers didn't score a touchdown either, but they didn't need to because they kicked 5 field goals, right? Or 6 field goals.
6. Boswell kicked 6, and the new offensive coordinator, Mr. Arthur Smith, is super happy that he got to beat his old team week 1 in the way that he normally likes to do it. Run the ball. They ran the ball 34, 38. They ran the ball 40 times.
40 times.
That is Arthur Smith football right there. He didn't have Derrick Henry, but he
dominated time of possession, too. I'm going to look at it.
I'm sure you're right. When you're running the ball 40 times, you're definitely killing clock on that. And George Pickens had 6 catches for 85 yards. That's what you do as a number 1 receiver.
Spread it around to 8 different targets. Spread the ball around. Use a lot of different parts of the field. This is what you want an offense to do. This is not what the Giants did, and it's definitely not what the Jets did either. So I'm looking at it as I still think we're in some type of weird preseason mode right now, and we're not going to see the. And that's
week 4,
why, to
week
be
5,
honest,
you said there's some teams.
There's so many people that got knocked out this weekend by Cincinnati too. Got knocked out of their survivor pool because they just again, it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, how does Cincinnati lose that game? There's
because
no way
week 1, there's always upsets,
but not just now. Week 1, now it's week 2, 3, 4. Like the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season are probably one of the roughest stretches, other than getting to the end and you got to figure out, okay, I've used this team already or that team already, but. And then you get down to more to the strategy of it. But the first few weeks, you could be picking, like I said, I love San Fran this week against the Vikings. There's a very good chance that maybe Sam Darnold catches him off guard and Justin Jefferson.
I don't think so, but maybe.
I don't think so either. But it's a possibility.
It's possible.
And it would knock out a ton more people too. I'm sure it would. But it's insane. And to be honest, I don't really like it. Some people might because of the unpredictability. Any given Sunday, more teams tend to win or at least get some wins. But at the same time, I want to see good football.
I'm with you on that 100%.
Some of the football we saw this weekend was not good.
Not some. A lot of the football was not good. I think only 2 quarterbacks, maybe 3, threw for over 200 yards. Honestly. As low as that is, I believe that's the case.
We're going to look at the stats right now.
Okay, I'm way wrong on that.
Not way wrong, because two is the leader.
300 yards. That's what it is, 300 yards.
There's only 2 guys who threw for over 300 yards.
I said 200. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But even 2 still, in Stafford. It's not even the guys you would think. You would think Mahomes. You would think, guys like Josh Allen, whatever. Not necessarily.
Baker's up there.
Yeah, Baker had listen, they had probably one of the best looking offenses out of anybody
they definitely
in week 1. And I'm telling you, man, until somebody could prove me different, I'd take Mike Evans every year.
I think you're right, man. I should have
stud.
taken him in fantasy. I should have went
It's
back to back with him
every year,
and he gets double-digit touchdowns too. He's really good. He's very consistent. And Baker's show in Cleveland, giving them the middle finger, basically being like, you should never have traded for Deshaun.
No. What do we talk about all the time? There are certain teams that can't ever do anything well with a quarterback.
That's Cleveland.
The Browns. You look at it now. Every Browns fan out there is screaming to bench Watson. Mm-hmm. They don't want Watson. They think it's a waste of the money. $230 million
Get
guaranteed.
out of the contract, they're saying.
Oh, it's unbelievable the vitriol going on in Cleveland right now. And you know, the fact that they had Baker Mayfield, but the thing is, they don't know what to do with a Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You could draft the player, but it's like Caleb Williams with the Bears. You could draft the player,
with the Jets.
but you don't know what to do with the player. And that's
Caleb Williams.
And it's true though. You look at what Caleb Williams had this week.
They didn't score an offensive touchdown. They got saved by their defense. Who scored
93 yards passing. When they pick up Keenan Allen and draft Rome Odunze as a top 15 pick.
Yeah, top 9. He was a top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick.
He also MCL injury.
But I'm just saying, like, you go out and you get all these things. DeAndre Swift, you get all these things.
He's 90 yards.
93 yards. They win the game, but they win it because of their defense.
The lowest starting quarterback of the week.
But what are the Bears known for? They're known for defense.
Defense.
That's defense. They do defense really well. Even in their bad years, they're a good defensive team. But they can't do anything with a quarterback. And it's the same and that's why I love the fact that Baker got to get out from under Cleveland and have his redemption. He didn't have to go the ways of the Johnny Manziel.
No.
He didn't have to go the ways of all these other guys that came before him, the Tim Couches and all the 50 other quarterbacks that Cleveland's drafted and never been able to turn into anything. So finally they go out and they trade for a guy. They're like, we can't miss. Deshaun Watson, top 5 quarterback in the league. We can't miss. Here's guaranteed money. And now you're going to
guaranteed money in the world.
Now you're going to bench him, but it just shows you that certain teams
can't get it right.
But other teams seem to get it right. And the Bucks are one of those teams. They seem to be able to pluck some talent. I mean, I remember years ago when they were good with Sapp and Allstott and
that was a long. But Brad Johnson was their quarterback.
Yeah, but again, they didn't need a great. So that's why Baker's coming in. Baker's not being asked to do too much. We have a great receiver. Get him the ball. Great. We have a running back. Give him the ball. Great. You know, it's pretty simple stuff. And they think they let him go back to being him, and you're seeing a much improved player on the field.
Definitely much improved.
He's now becoming a guy who, on his next contract, because I don't think he's that old.
I want to see
yet.
Baker back in commercials, bro.
You know,
put him
back in State Farm. They moved him back in.
They moved him into the Tampa Stadium now instead of the Cleveland one.
You know, but he's only 29 years old. He's going to be around for a while longer, and the fact that he's been able to figure it out here in Tampa has actually been fun to watch. So I'm excited for this Bucs team. My nephew, he's a Bucs fan.
Nice.
And I'm just excited for the team because I have some family down that way. We have a house down that way. I just they're kind of like a second team to me. The Bucs are becoming, I feel like, but I like that Baker's been able to turn it around. And again,
not the Giants, go Bucs. I got you.
But everybody out there kind of crapped on Mike Williams, and again, even in free agency, like I'm surprised more teams didn't try to throw some money at him. When you see Ayuk getting $30 million a year,
well, it's a prove it year. See if you're healthy. That's it, because you got a tore ACL.
Yeah, but again, he's gonna be just fine.
You hope
he's already showing you.
You said
he's
Mike
be
Williams.
Just fine.
You said right.
I'm already showing you that he's gonna be.
You said Mike Williams, right?
No, Mike Evans.
Oh, Evans.
Mike Evans.
Okay.
Mike Williams with the Jets.
That's why I was like.
No, Mike Evans. Because Mike Evans, 10 straight years of 1,000 yards?
What did he just sign up? 2-year, $40 million deal? He got like $20 million a year? He deserves $30 million. He's been killing.
But that's what I mean. Is why wouldn't a team like Kansas City, why wouldn't a team out there, now granted, Kansas City went out and drafted Worthy, who seems like he's going to be a stud.
I think.
They got other guys.
Honestly,
so I get some coaches not doing
Evans wants to be a Buck for his whole career.
I hope he does. Because he's been there, he's been great. Didn't matter if it was Jameis Winston, Tom Brady,
he's been a
or
good
Baker
player,
Mayfield. It doesn't matter who's throwing to him. The man comes down with the football.
Yep.
And I've been watching him since he was in college, doing it against Alabama.
Oh, really?
He was an SEC guy. Yeah, he played.
Texas Tech was he?
No, he was Texas A&M, and I believe he was with Johnny Manziel. He was in that same class.
No, you're right.
So that's why, I remember the year that Manziel and them beat Alabama, and all of it, but he's been doing that. that since he was in college. Like, he has been that guy, and he's continuing to be that guy. So I just hope that people give him a little bit more respect, because I look at him that by the time he retires, I'm going to look at him with the same kind of eyes that I look at like a Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
but the difference is at least he's got a ring. Larry doesn't.
Larry doesn't. Larry went to a Super Bowl, though.
Larry went to a Super Bowl, didn't win it. He actually won one. So you know what? If push came to shove and you're going to ask me who's the greatest of all time, I might have, or who's greater going, not greatest of all time, but who's greater, Mike Evans or Larry Fitzgerald? I think he just passed Larry Fitzgerald. I think if he has another 1,000-yard year, this would be, what, his 11th straight like 1,000-yard?
That's Mr. Consistency right there.
You can't ask for any more. So, I mean, I love what the Bucs are doing. I love what they did week 1. Will they continue it week 2?
They played Detroit. We all said no. Yeah. We all said Detroit wins.
And I got to be honest, but I look at it and when I goes back to it's a tough week because I can absolutely see the Bucs winning this game. I could see them winning.
We got division rivals this week. You got Buffalo, Miami tomorrow night. We were split on that in our little group.
Yeah, I believe I had the Dolphins.
And Fife went Dolphins. Me and Dave went Buffalo.
Yep.
You got the Cowboys, Saints.
I mean, come on. I think everybody's taking the Cowboys. The Saints aren't a bad team, though. And, like, especially Derek Carr is another quarterback out there that I don't think gets the respect that he deserves. He's not great.
No,
I'm not saying, but tell
he's
me
an average starting quarterback.
Tell me you wouldn't be better off as a Jet with Derek Carr than Aaron Rodgers right now.
Take Aaron Rodgers.
I think you guys would have been better off with Derek Carr.
I'll take Rodgers.
Without Rodgers dictating the show there.
I'll take Rodgers.
You would have been able to get different players that weren't dictated by Rodgers. You wouldn't be handcuffed by a guy. You would have a guy that actually showed up to off-season workouts. To me, I would. Okay, all right. Either way. And plus, I do think in Dallas this week, Dallas can end up winning that game. And but yeah, I look at it. That's another game that if the Saints did win it, I'd chalk it up to an early season loss for the Cowboys and another game where it's still kind of preseason-ish. And I can see the Saints coming away with it. They got
Cowboys they look good week 1. They were in Cleveland and gave it to Cleveland. That's why I'm going to say they're firing on all cylinders. They're a great regular season team. The last 3 years, they've won 36 games, which is 12 a year. They always come out ready to go.
They're a good team.
It's
they
January.
Just don't win, though. They're what our Yankees have become. They're a good team that never seems to win at all.
Yes.
Now, they've been going on close to 30 years now. The Yankees are only on 15, about half the stretch. But still, it's very much the same feel to, we know, that's why when everybody's talking Yankees, and I've some friends that I was talking to, and they got really upset. And they're like, oh, man, the Yankees, they just, they got to fix this. And we've even talked, they got to fix their pitching. They got to do this, they got to do that. And they do. But at the same time, they're still going to be a 95, 96 win team and be in the playoffs.
I don't know about 95, 96.
They're gonna be division winners, if not AL champions, or as far as record goes anyway, best team in the AL. But yet we still all go, but what are they gonna do in the playoffs? And that's the same way you look at the Cowboys. They're gonna win 12 games, but what are they gonna do in the playoffs? They're probably gonna lay an egg. And that's just what history tells you. Much like the Mets. That's what history tells you.
Yeah, there's 16 games left, and the Yankees are 83 and 62. I don't think they're getting to 95. They would have to go
83,
12 and 4. 12
they
and 4
have
the rest of the way.
17 left. So they have 17 left.
Oh, I was looking at the Orioles. My bad.
So the Yankees have 17 left.
Yeah, they have 17 left. So they'd have to go 12 and 5 the rest of the way.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but the way this team
is. But they also are playing like the Pirates. They play the Orioles once more, but I believe they also got the Pirates. They got like a couple teams in there. I think Boston one more time. They got some teams that aren't. But either way, Cowboys very much in a 1-to-1 comparison as far as sports go when it comes to teams that are going to probably perform really well in the regular season. Mm-hmm. But again, they're not a playoff team. Can the Yankees break that barrier this year? Maybe. Can the Cowboys? Maybe.
Maybe.
But
especially with that kicker, maybe they can get that going.
I do think they start 2-0, though. I do think they start 2-0. But again, Lions-Bucks, wouldn't be surprised if that goes either way. Colts-Packers, another game. Anthony Richardson looked good. Like, his arm looked explosive.
He's special, man.
He looks like the real deal.
He needs to work on his accuracy, but he's special.
And I look at both of these teams, and I'm like, are either of these teams really going to start 0-2? One of them's got to.
The Packers aren't going to be without Love.
Yeah, so I got to think that it might be the week to take the. I might switch the pick and take the Colts in the Survivor this week, only because with no Love, who they got starting?
I would go San Fran, bro. This is a tough week.
But who are the Packers starting?
They're starting Malik Willis, who has never thrown a touchdown pass in the NFL, actually.
Probably won't this weekend either. So the Colts have a decent defense. So, that's another game, though, that I'm probably going to stay away from it. Jets-Titans. I was talking to a lot of people at the dog park today about this game, actually, and everyone was telling me this is a Jet lock. Sign it up.
Guess
this
what?
This would be everything that a Jet fan hopes and dreams.
Guess what? It's not a lock. Nothing is locked. This is a short week. They just got their butts whipped coming back home from the West Coast. This is not a lock, bro. There's no.
Are you
locks.
picking the Titans?
No, I'm not picking that. I'm not picking a team. I'm not gonna root against the Jets. But this is not a lock, bro.
I'll give you double or nothing on. I'll give you double or nothing on the Jet bet from this week on another tortilla, so you could hold off on the tortilla for a week. I'll take the Titans. I'll give you a fair shot. No points. I'll take the Titans straight up money line.
No.
Jets are 3.5 point spread according to ESPN bet.
Don't want
You
it.
can have the Jets.
Nope.
They're all yours. Come on, double or nothing.
Nope.
Why not?
They don't. I think the Titan D is better than people think. No, not taking it. I'll take my tortilla slap, and I'll take it with pride.
All right.
You are undefeated in tortilla bets still.
That's what I mean. That's why I think the Titans are going to steal one. I think the Jets are still a week or two off from getting hot.
I do too. That's why I'm not taking this bet. I don't think the Jets. I'm not confident. This past week did not make me feel confident at all, and especially since how good the Niners are. They probably gave it to the Jets. The Jets are going to be feeling sore for a little bit. I think I could see the Titans getting a first win. I really can.
49ers-Vikings just seems like the easiest game of the week to pick. I don't know why, but that just seems like the game that, like...
Well, with how dominant they were against the Jets, I mean, that defense looks really damn good. I hope the Niners are that dominant against the Vikings. I want Justin Jefferson shut down.
Right? I don't.
Me and him play each other in 2 different leagues this week in fantasy, so
that could be a total of 3 tortilla slaps for you in 2 weeks. That's a lot of tortilla slaps for you.
That's why I get it over with this week. Just give me the one this week. Because if I got to come next week for 4, hell no. Hell no. We ain't doing that.
No, we'd have to spread them out a little bit.
Imagine, bro, 4? I'm good. I'd rather get 2.
I'll tell you what, the most surprising 1-0 team to me is actually the Patriots. For what they did last week. They played good.
And they ran the ball down their throats.
And Jacoby Brissett isn't as terrible as everybody makes him out to be. No. He's a journeyman for sure. He's a backup.
He's a capable
But he's a capable guy who can stop gap for you.
Yeah.
That's what he can do.
I'm with you.
And I look at them. They're home this week. Got a Seahawks team flying in to play a 1:00 game. So it's a West Coast team playing an early game.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
This is another one I look at, not easy to call, because you would think, like, oh, this has got to be a Seahawk win. But to me, if the Patriots follow that playbook they followed last week, there's no reason they can't play with and or beat the Seahawks this week. This is a tough week.
They should be in the game, the Patriots, especially since Kenneth Walker, he got himself a chest oblique or a chest injury, I believe. So there's a good chance that he actually might not play for the Seahawks. So... I could definitely see the Patriots keeping it close, and that defense last week shut down Chase and Burrow. I wonder if DK gets shut down this week once again, and I don't know what the Seahawks are going to do.
By the way, in our picks, I believe we all took Dallas as well, right?
Yeah, we all took Dallas.
And then I'm just thinking of that because I know we were thinking about picking the Giant game, but I mean, all of us had the Commanders winning again. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants turn it around. They are playing a rookie QB. If they can figure something out on defense to stymie him, I think that they can make it happen. But again, not a game I want to touch at all. Like
no way.
I look at this game and I'm like,
with
it's
how
too
bad that
close
Giant
either way.
offense looked last week, and a rookie quarterback, you don't know how he's going to play. I know it's home, but you still don't know how he's going to react.
Exactly.
Still a little early.
Way too early. Chargers, Panthers. I mean, should be a Chargers win, but again, another team coming from the West Coast playing an early game. At 1
that's
o'clock.
why you don't like that.
That's why
I think
don't
Harbaugh
like it.
will have them fine, but you're not wrong.
That's again, it's harder. I shouldn't say it's hard, but it's harder for West Coast teams to come east and play the early game. You know, because that's practically 10 a.m. West Coast time. It just throws out the flow. It throws off the flow to the day, the rhythm, their everything. So it's a little bit different when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but Carolina looks so bad. I get it. It was in New Orleans. New Orleans is never an easy place to play. So interesting, very interesting. I think the Chargers run away with this, though.
Well, speaking of people who are running away from things, I believe our co-host, Mr. David Hastings, is running away from Allentown, Pennsylvania, as fast as he can. How you doing tonight, Dave?
Not doing bad, guys. Doing.
Breaking up just a little bit, but we're going to try and see how it goes. We're kind of going through the week because this is a tough week in the league. Kind of went through a bunch of the games already. But we were talking about these teams because there seems to be two of them this week, both the Seahawks and the Chargers coming in from the West Coast, playing an East Coast team and playing the early game at 1 o'clock. The Chargers are against the Panthers, and the Seahawks are at the Patriots. So it's just two teams that aren't great. You don't look at New England as a juggernaut this year. Nobody's looking at the Panthers like they're going to do anything. But they're getting these teams that are okay teams. Chargers are okay. I don't think they're going to, be otherworldly this year, but they're going to be a solid team. And I think the Seahawks are too, but they're going to come west to east and play the early game. I think that could affect them. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the numbers definitely prove that teams travel from the West Coast to the East and play in the 1 o'clock game. The odds are definitely against them, unless they're playing the Carolina Panthers. So I think you're going up against a decent football team or above. You could lose a team that maybe you would win if you're playing at home or even on a neutral site. But Carolina, I mean, New Orleans made it very obvious. I think Carolina is still the worst team in the NFL. Giants fans after Sunday may feel a little bit differently, but overall, I definitely think Carolina, just the top bottom, is probably the worst roster in the league. So I think the Chargers will be fine. Going to New England, New England showed you they're play tough. That's how they play. They don't have the most talent, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense. They're going to play field position. And Seattle definitely did not look like world beaters in week one. I also think that overall, week one was not a clean, clear-cut tale of what the season should look like overall. But I think if either one of those teams is going to lose, I think Seattle's much more likely to lose than the Chargers.
Dave, we're dying over here. It sounds like your balls just dropped. I don't know what it is, but you sounded like Darth Vader a little bit. Now, R.I.P. to the great James Earl Jones, who just left us. But it sounds like you got some kind of like voice box on that's giving you like Fife vibes.
I just asked Eric if he had some kind of voiceover for you, because you are sounding like you have like you kidnapped somebody and you're giving us like a ransom, dude.
So in other words, James Earl Jones didn't actually die. I just took him for captive to do the phone call.
He definitely isn't happening here right now.
Dude, are you sick? Do you have a cold?
No, I'm perfectly nice. I am perfectly good. The thing I can blame it on is Pennsylvania and that they're stupid to allow 18-wheelers in the lane. That's what I got.
I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. It just it caught us off guard because we're so used to your voice. We do this with you so often that like it almost sounds like I have one of those voice changers on your voice right now. But you're coming through, like the words are coming through fine, so we can understand what you're saying. It just sounds like you're coming in like. Anyway,
I am strictly here to entertain, gentlemen. That is my job. So I'm happy you guys will laugh.
Joey's losing it, dude. It's like it hits a funny bone on Joey.
Bro,
like,
you sure you're not holding some kind of voice thing to your mouth and it's a different voice that's coming out? Like, bro, it sounds different.
Did you guys partake in pre-show activities?
No, not tonight.
We did not.
We did not tonight.
All right, anyway, let's get back to the show.
Back to the football. Going through the last couple of games here, another one I found interesting at 1 o'clock was two teams. One team I think underperformed a little bit last week, and actually both teams did. They're both 0-1, so I should say both teams. But the Browns at the Jaguars. Do the Browns bounce back? Do the Jaguars, look better at home? What are you thinking there, Dave?
Honestly, I think Deshaun Watson forgot to play football.
It looks that way.
I mean, I would love to sit here and act like last week Dallas was that good and their defense that good. I would love to say that with full confidence. That's just not the reality of it. Deshaun Watson just looks atrocious. First player or quarterback in NFL history to not complete a pass for 15 yards with at least 10 attempts. Just all bad. I mean, I don't know how you have a Mike Cooper and Judy on the outside. Njoku is your tight end, a decent run game, and just look as bad as they did. I understand their two starting tackles were out, so that obviously plays an impact. But that was a poor performance by Cleveland top to bottom. The defense just got gassed. I mean, Dallas basically did nothing in the second half, and it still was a 33-17 win. And that last touchdown by Cleveland was Dallas just playing safe and trying not to get anybody injured. So they really were a 10-point team. And I think Dallas has a good defense, but holding that offense to 10 points, I think that's just as much blame on Deshaun Watson as it is that Dallas defense. Or I think Jacksonville just wasn't their best team. I think they'll be better at home. I think they have some talent. I think Jacksonville is much more likely to come out of this game win than Cleveland is, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson.
Definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's so crazy to say because just a few years ago, the Browns go out and big trade, send all these picks and everything, sign them to $230 million
guaranteed.
But this goes back. I'm going to drill this home until forever. The Browns just don't know what to do with a quarterback. Even when they come in and they know they're talented, even when you know this guy has the talent to be a top flight quarterback, they still find a way as an organization to screw it up every time. And that's why I still expect the Bears to do that with Caleb Williams. Like we talked about, 93 yards and through the air.
Yeah.
After what you did in the offseason to bring in the weapons and put in that offense you put in, for it to sputter and you win by only kicking field goals. But, I mean, I guess that's the difference between a winning organization and one that hasn't been winning for the last decade of Pittsburgh still finds a way to win those games. The Giants just get blown out. So it's completely different. I look at this bounce back week for the Ravens. I don't know how you guys feel against the Raiders. You got the Raiders at home. Although I think Gardner Minshew's one of these, like I called him he's Fitzmagic Jace. He's kind of like the Temu version of Fitzmagic.
He is.
But he can win some ball games and he's got a ton of talent there.
I don't think this week though.
I don't think this week either. at the Ravens. I think the Ravens are on a bounce back at home, especially after that tough loss to KC. What do you think, Dave?
I don't think it add anything more than what you said. I think you hit on it with Minshew. I think you hit on it with the Ravens as a team.
And we got Dave back.
And if we're being honest, Baltimore was, basically a toenail away from sending that game to overtime, and actually planned on going for 2. So
that was a
touchdown.
touchdown.
Kansas City with
I'm gonna die on that hill.
No,
I'm dying on that hill. I'm sorry, but his shoe was up to the line. It wasn't over the line. It was up to the line.
It was touching the line, though. It's touching the line.
But again, you could go up to. You just can't go over.
You can't touch it. Touching the line means you're out of bounds.
No.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to argue this till the cows come home. I think that if they could have gotten a camera angle close enough, you would have seen that right where the tip of that shoe was right where the line was, and I think
then maybe
I'm going to die on that hill. I would have called that a touchdown. I would have stuck with my call as a touchdown if I was a ref, so that's why I guess they're happy I'm not a ref looking at that replay, because to me, that's a touchdown all day.
Dave, go ahead.
Eric, if you're dying on that hill, then I'm going to die on the hill. You need to go to the eye doctor.
I already did. I'm wearing glasses now. I had to get glasses at 39. So, I mean, my eyesight's better now than it was years ago.
I'm going to die on the hill with Dave, to be honest with you. Not that you need eyesight, but like Patrick Mahomes said in his interview, Isaiah likely next time needs to wear white cleats to try and trick the ref or something, because it's clear his foot is right there, bro. It's on the line. It doesn't matter how on the line
it's
it is.
It's not on the line.
It's on the line.
See, this is where we get into semantics. Of on the line, touching the line.
Semantics.
It is.
Okay.
It's not semantics.
Let's just say potato, potato.
Okay.
Tomato, tomato.
Let's call it semantics. Maybe the NFL needs to actually step up and do some kind of like soccer does. What does soccer do with their line, with the goal?
Yeah, they have the technology.
They have technology. Tennis has some kind of laser thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they need to do that with their goal line.
Well, you can do it all around the field.
All around the touchdown to see if the
not just the
person's
touchdown, do it on the out of bounds line too, on the sidelines. Why not?
Maybe they need to do that now.
They should. They're going to get rid of the field. They're going to get rid of the chain gang anyway. So if you're getting rid of the chain gang and you're getting rid of all those people, guess what? Then you should be able to get in the technology.
Sign me up then.
Yeah, why not?
And if you had the technology, he'd been out of bounds.
Yes, Dave.
I disagree. But I'm gonna die. I know I'm alone. I know that I am alone on this hill, and I'm okay with that. But listen, I'm okay with that as a guy who had likely on his bench in 3 leagues. Eric,
the only people that agree with you are Ravens fans and Dale likely fantasy owners. That's it.
Listen, he didn't provide any fantasy value to me because I had him on the bench.
Benched. That's okay.
Won't make that mistake again. He'll be in the lineup. Because apparently, Lamar Jackson likes him.
They're doing 12 personnel from now on?
You got to be doing something because Mark Andrews was out there, and he didn't get the touches.
They were like double and tripling him.
Yeah, he didn't get the touches.
Word.
So I don't know.
All right, so we all agree that Baltimore's probably going to get in the win column this week.
Yeah. Then we move to the afternoon games. You look at it, or the late games, I should say, and you got the Rams at Cardinals. You have the Broncos Steelers. And you have Bengals Chiefs, all 425. But again, I look at it, Bengals, they don't look quite right. Chiefs have it a little bit more synchronicity, I would say, right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take them at home, especially at home. You're going to have Tay-Tay in the crowd. You're going to have, all that fun stuff. So I'm not going against the Swifties there. I think that, unfortunately, the Bengals start off 0-2, but I look at this Bengals team as a team that later in the year, I still think they're going to finish with 10, 11 wins. I think they're still going to be a good football team. And I just don't think it's going to be this week against the Chiefs, so I don't know how you guys feel.
I agree. I actually agree with everything you just. I still think they end up with 10, maybe 11 wins. I think they're fighting for a playoff spot. I don't think they're fighting for the division, but I think they're fighting for a playoff spot. And yeah, I just don't think this is the week that they get
Timmy says he was out of bounds.
pick things back up.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs over the Bengals. The Bengals just looked like crap last week. I know they were without T. Higgins, first game without Joe Mixon. So it might take them a couple weeks to really find their groove. They start every year out slow, and then they pick it up. So I'm going Chiefs. They're going to start out 2-0 and 2-0 at home.
All right. And then, I mean, not much else to talk about. I mean, Rams at Cardinals. I don't know if you guys have strong thoughts on that.
Give me the Rams.
I think it could be competitive, though. I mean, Kyler Murray and them, they looked pretty good against the Bills last week until they kind of, fell apart later. But
I'm going to take the Rams.
You're taking the Rams? I think I might go Cardinals at home. This is another one where I think we're still preseason. We're still early. I think the Cardinals could steal one at home. And the Rams didn't blow me away last week, so I don't know. I look at that as I might go Cardinals there. I mean, that's not one of our official picks, but if there was something we were going to differ on, that would be something I think we might differ on. Dave, what do you think?
I mean, the Rams are forcing overtime, against Detroit, who we all agree is, or I believe we all agree is a playoff team and probably the favorite to win the NFC North. I think the Rams are a pretty good team, but Puka Nacua on IR for the next 4 weeks. So a lot of weight's going to be put on Kyler Williams and Cooper Kupp. Jefferson have to step up for him in the number 2 spot. Defensively, they're a pretty good team. Arizona's just one of those teams, right, where, when you got a quarterback like Kyler Murray, I mean, the guy – any game could, hit with a Lamar Jackson style game, right? Give you 200 yards, 100 rushing yards, and, really flip the script in a game. I think Arizona feels like they let one get away. I'm sure the Rams feel the same way, but I think Arizona gained some confidence with how they played against Buffalo last week, and I'm actually going to go with Arizona.
All right, so me and Dave actually agreed on that one. Again, not an official pick, but just some extra that we're throwing in. I think another good game we could end up having, depends on how Bo Nix bounces back, but Steelers rushed the ball, like me and Joey talked about before, over 40 times last week. Seemed to be a good recipe for a win for them, where they didn't even need any touchdowns out of Justin Fields, just be game manager, control the clock, and kick field goals, and they seem to win games. They could do that again in Mile High. I look at this game, it could go either way, but I have a feeling it's probably going to go the Steelers' way. What do you think, Joey?
With Fields now, I think this is what Pittsburgh wants to do. I think they just want to run the ball, control the clock, and they have a Super Bowl caliber defense. So they just really don't want to make turnovers, and I think they're going to give it to the Broncos. So I'm going to say 17-10. They're going to win.
All right. What do you think, Dave?
Pittsburgh's going to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, sure.
Let's hope one's defensive.
I feel like Pittsburgh.
Fields will bust one out.
Field goal kicker. Yeah, Fields is a wild card, man. He really is. He showed flashes and moments in Chicago, but his consistency was, he was consistent at being inconsistent is probably the best way to say how Fields plays football. So, I don't know. This is a game I have absolutely no interest in actually putting on my television. I feel like it'll be pretty freaking boring to actually watch unless you got fantasy players in it.
I think Bo Nix is going to throw a couple pick sixes.
I mean, TJ Watt came out like a man on a mission against Atlanta, that's for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think you're going to see with these two teams. I think it's going to be low scoring. over under, right, Joey? 17-10. So I think 27 points over under is probably a nice line. I don't know what Vegas has it at.
36.5 on ESPN bet.
So I think that's the better pick.
Right? The under?
Not who's going to win?
Take the under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under in that game. But if I got to pick a team, I'm going to take Pittsburgh just because I just think quarterback, they're pretty much break even, but the rest of the rosters, I think Pittsburgh has a better roster.
I think we'd agree with you there. Moving on, though, I want to move on to the Sunday night game. The what are supposed to be the high-flying new Bears, they are coming in 1-0, but we know that was a defensive win. Playing the Texans, I think this is a game the Texans should run away with. I think if the Texans are going to be as good as advertised, are going to be one of the top teams in the AFC, then this is a game they need to come in and put a little smacky face on Caleb Williams, and they need to win this game at home. What do you think, Dave?
Oh, yeah. Give me the Texans by at least 2 scores.
What do you think?
That Bears D is really good. I think they slow down Houston, but Caleb Williams was an absolute joke this past week. It might take him a little time to adjust to the NFL, so I'm gonna take Houston as well. The total's 45.5. I'm gonna go with the under on that too. I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring event, but I could see Texans winning like 24-17, something like that.
All right, and I'm calling the Texans too. So I mean, we're a clean sweep there as far as it goes, and that just leaves the Monday night game, which should have been a much improved Falcons team. Actually gets beat by the Justin Fields Pittsburgh team at home. Now they have to go on the road to Philly against a really good Philly team who Barkley last week absolutely torched Green Bay and showed the Giants why he deserved the money he got.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he
did. And that offense was humming, so even though everybody was falling all over that field too, that was a ridiculous field they were playing on.
They're slipping. And Saquon said he changed his cleats, thankfully, and that's what
you
got him
have to change your
rolling.
cleats. Like it's a different type of field they play on down there, so you got to change and adapt. So I'm glad that he did, and other players had to. But you saw it; it was a mess on the field. But they're back home now, playing the Falcons. I think this is another game where if the Eagles are going to be the top team in the NFC, if this is a team this is a team they got to come in and beat at home, especially on Monday night in prime time. Eyes and the lights are the brightest. And by the way, we all know what Kirk Cousins does in prime time.
And what's that? What does he do, Eric?
Not win, ever. Not play well, really, ever. So I actually like Philly by more than the 6.5 spread I see here. And it looks like the over-under on this, 47.5. I kind of like the over there because I think both teams can score. So I would actually like the over, and I like Philly minus the 6.5 if you ask me. What do you think, Joey?
I actually fully agree with you. I like them minus 6.5 as well. I do think they are a touchdown favorite more than the Falcons. Kirk Cousins sucks on prime time. I think the Falcons might need a little bit more time to get everybody all synchronized. Kyle Pitts at least woke up last week. He got a touchdown right away in week 1. But Kirk Cousins might need a little bit. Maybe they go to Penix soon because he didn't look so good. I don't know. Maybe that Achilles isn't healing as well.
Maybe, but again, I still think it's preseason.
I'm with you.
We gotta wait until week 3 and 4. But I think the Eagles
drama.
I think the Eagles are a little bit more seasoned right now, so that's why I think that they're. Yeah.
Dave.
I literally could not say it better than the two of you have said it. So we're just going to take the clean sweep and an agreement across the board.
All right. Well, then I got to tell you, the last thing I want to bring up with you before we end up getting out of here. But I mean, did you hear of the knuckleheaded news of the week?
What we got?
And I say that because this whole season, nobody has championed women's basketball like we have. Nobody has championed the WNBA like we have. Talked about it week after week. And the race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And the teams playing and they're seeding. And Angel Reese now has a wrist injury and will be out the remainder of the year.
Oh, that stinks.
It's such a womp to the end of this season. Yeah, literally. Hang on, we got that right here. It is just the biggest disappointment, and I couldn't not bring it up with you because we talk it every week, and the way that this season was going to end, these two girls only had, 4, 5, 6 games maybe left in the season.
Games, yeah.
They're both on historic paces, and I feel like we got robbed of something special. I feel like we got robbed of an end of a season that could have been a little bit more exciting and could have really driven home the point of the WNBA this season and the gains they've made. And instead, I think this might take a little bit of wind out of the sails. It might take a little bit of momentum away. That's the way I'm feeling. I don't know how you guys are feeling. But when you heard the news of Angel Reese coming down with the wrist injury, it being a season ender, what are your thoughts?
Disappointing. That was my first thought. It sucked. I mean, the way Angel Reese was playing, I know the team was, outside looking in at the playoff race, but with how the standings were set up, they still had a shot. It sucks, right? Like, you never want to see anybody get hurt, but you especially want to see somebody that's having a rookie year like Angel Reese, or even just a season in general, even if you're not a rookie. You don't want to see it come to an end by an injury, and that sucks. But I also think there's a good chance that as an organization, they thought it was better to shut her down, let her get her surgery, and be fully healed up so that she can go into her sophomore year. Or sophomore season, as healthy as could be and ready to rock for the team. And I think that's how they played it.
I think this is going to sum up how we all feel.
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
And, I think that's the way I'm feeling about the end of this WNBA season. I think we're all feeling a little bit of that right now.
Won't get any argument from me.
All right. And I think with that, that's going to just about do it here for us tonight. We hit the Yankees. They're I don't know how they're doing tonight.
They were losing last I saw.
Let's take a quick look. Mets.
They're up 2-1.
Oh, nice. Need the wins. Need every win you can get this late in the season.
Washington up 5-1 over the Braves right now in the top.
We're cheering on Washington to get Joey in his bet. He needs 3 more wins out of Washington. So we're going to cheer Joey in on his bet here. And in the meantime, Dave, why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
You can find me at David Hastings 23 on the tweet machine, also known as X.
The tweet machine. I like that. I like the tweet machine.
The tweeter? Yeah, well, I like the tweet machine. I'm on X. I'm the tweet machine, as we'll call it now, at The Living Legend, if anyone wants to throw us a follow. Joey, I think they can find you at, it's Joey Doth, DOTH 47.
Yes, it is on Instagram, baby.
On Instagram. Follow him. Follow Louie at Louie Aussie Dude if you catch him in the camera here or behind us anywhere, as I have murals to him everywhere. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. He's the best. Yeah, but until next time, hope you agreed with us. If you didn't, feel free to share your opinion. Do all those free things.
All the free stuff.
Comment, subscribe, share. Doesn't cost anything. Even if you didn't agree with what we said, tell me about it. Tell us about it. Rate it on Facebook.
We want your opinions.
Rate it on the Facebook page. Rate it on YouTube. Just do it. It's free. It's fun. Why not? Talking sports.
We love it.
And until next time, don't be afraid to have an opinion. And die on this hill with us.